represents, he's a legend. And to be a part of his presence, which this house is a humbling experience. Let me say how much first. I take my bicycle early in the morning sometimes, and I ride down to Coney Island where there's a beautiful statue that Jumaane mentioned of Jackie Robinson and Pee Wee Reese arm in arm. And everyone who knows the great story, Jackie was not only bullied but called horrible words, but he threw garbage on the field. When he went to Crosby Field in Cincinnati, it was like a southern town. Pee Wee Reese, who actually came from across the river in Kentucky, walked over from shortstop to first base, put his arm around Jackie, looked at the crowd so well that they stopped. It was an amazing moment in American history, one of the finest moments in American history. In those early days when, I don't know if at that moment, but a year before the Army had still been segregated. I don't remember what year President Schumer unsegregated. And as was said, so this is an amazing moment. Jackie Robinson is a baseball legend, a civil rights leader, and just an inspiration to so many young people long after he was gone. He still is an inspiration. I tell my children about Jackie Robinson and his courage and his strength. And the new movie 42, like the old movie 42, symbolizes who he was. I could go on and on about Jackie Robinson, but the history is amazing. The history of how he bought this home, how there was racial tension, as Jumaane mentioned at the time, and black people couldn't purchase homes here. But Eleanor Palin, who is your great aunt, Miss Wheelock's great aunt, I wanted to get the relative right, was a light-skinned woman, and so she could purchase homes, and when they found out it was an African-American woman, they tried to take the homes back. She was strong, and her husband, Chris Palin, was strong, and they eventually rented this house to Jackie Robinson. He was one of the few, just like he was one of the few first African-American in baseball, he's one of the very first African-Americans to live in this area. This area had a history of racial tension. I remember in the 70s, I was not yet in office. There were huge riots about busing at Lyle Levin Junior High School, down the street over here. And so this house has such recognition, such meaning to America, to our history, to the good and the bad. The bad discrimination, the good, the strength of people of both races that can overcome that discrimination. And that's what we're all about here today. Why do we need this? This is on the National Historic Register. It's a national landmark. But that doesn't mean much. It's nice, it's honorific, but it means that if someone came in and bought this home, they could tear it down, they could change it in every way. We need this home as a living memorial to what Jackie and so many others did. And if the City Landmarks Preservation Commission were to make it a landmark, then it couldn't be changed. And the generosity of the Bowman-Wheelock family to say that they are willing to do that is their contribution, an additional contribution to history. Because obviously, you know, maybe someone would want to come and give more money to tear the house down and put up, I don't know what, parking building or something like that. So that is terrific, and that's why we need it. So the bottom line is very simple. If there's anything in New York City that deserves to be a landmark, it is this humble home where Jackie Robinson lived when he broke the color barrier for the Brooklyn Dodgers. The great number 42. He's got his, Jumane's got his deal. We love, here we are. 42 is a number that lives in people's memory. And we don't want people to forget it. This house is a great way to remember it. We are urging the Landmarks Preservation Commission to rise to the occasion. It's not just great architecture that they should be protected. It's not just old, you know, the neighborhood in which I live in Brooklyn is protected. This has as much meaning as any of that. how they could turn it down, and they turned it down a historical wrong fact because he actually received the Rookie of the Year award in 47 when he was living here. They thought he moved in 48, but he moved in 47. So they're factually incorrect, but they're morally incorrect. And we need them to change their decision. And I today am throwing my support and whatever I can do behind Jumaane's drive and the community's drive and the Wheelock Bowman's family drive to designate this house as a landmark so it will be with us forever, and my grandchildren will be able to come here, see the house, and remember everything that Jackie Robinson signified in the long saga of race in American history.